Hello and welcome back. I want to show you some things that I have been working on today, and then we're going to do one together if you would like to join me. This is just a cutout piece of fabric, and what I have done is I have just added some different jewels and beads and sequins in different places, and these make great pockets for your junk journals. So that is one that's finished. This one is finished. I did silk embroidery on this one. Well, I did some regular embroidery, but I did some silk embroidery also on this little guy, and this guy was just lightly quilted. So, and I'll probably put something over that back so that if I use it as a pocket, when I stick something in, it won't get stuck on anything in the back. This is one that someone gave me, which I think is precious. It's made with tulle over cardstock, and the top has been left open with a little tag in there. Isn't that precious? So, so cute. I love this little sheer embroidery work there. This is one that I did, just kind of boho colors. Now here all I did was add some gold trim and some of the pale turquoise crystals. So that's ready to go. This one was also gifted to me. Just absolutely gorgeous, shabby chic little pocket. And this person put a little fabric pocket on the back, so you can actually stick a little something in there if you want to. I don't know why that is stuck right there. It shouldn't be, but we won't tear that up. Okay, this is one I did with these little barrel beads I stitched on here. I did this one in the doctor's office waiting with my dad one day, so that's been a few years ago. Added some embroidery and some beads. On this one, I tried some experimenting with some larger threads, fibers and stuff, eyelash type fibers, the short ones, and these, believe it or not, are French knots that I did with eyelash fibers and some beads. But this is what I want to work on today. Now this is just a piece of muslin, and I've covered it with some silk fabric from a vintage wedding gown, and then I've just added tea-dyed pieces. I've added some sari silk here that I ruffled a little. I've got some freshwater pearls that I stitched in here. It's got a charm. It has a key that I put there, and I stitched that key down. I don't know if you can see, but there's threads here and here that are actually holding that key in place. Some cute little buttons, seed beads. This button I did a flower, so it's a 4-hole button, and I put a French knot in the top, and then on the 3 bottom holes I just did a green thread, and then I stitched on seed beads here, seed beads here. This is part of that vintage wedding gown also, that white right there. Gorgeous, vintage looking, shabby chic type of pocket. So that's what I wanted to work on today. These are 2 pieces that I have started. See, this one could be a little pocket right there. And this is just sheer organza with some lace. This is the same, but I haven't decorated them yet. So that's what I want to do. I want to go ahead and decorate these up today by adding some beads and bells and whistles. I pulled out this hank of lace here because I think I want to add some lace to these, and I may even put some cardstock on the back just to kind of give them some substance. I want to show you this little guy too. This was also made and given to me by a friend, and it has a little cross and a little key, and it's made like a little necklace, and this is all glued down, and some muslin or linen, actually that was like a linen, on cardstock with lace around the edges, and then they just kind of covered the back up a little bit where that chain is connected. But that makes a great junk journal pocket. Okay, so what I've done is I've just cut some cardstock that I am going to attach to the back like so. Now normally I would sew this down because I like to stitch things, but my sewing machine is packed up and ready to go to a retreat that I'm going to be on next week. So I'm going to do something else. As a matter of fact, we might stitch this by hand. That would be fun. Okay, so I'm just picking a thread color. I want my threads to show, but I don't want them to be like screaming. So I'm just going to use this color right here up against the white. See, that'll be very pretty. And I want to keep it all in that little vintage, the vintage colors. So we'll get that out of the way. And I'm going to thread my needle. Okay, so what I've done is I've just clipped it together. I've got the piece that I showed you. I've got one layer of that lace fabric, and then I've got my cardstock on the back. All right, my needle is threaded, and I went ahead and kept all 6 strands in here, but I did not put a knot in the back, in the end, and I'm going to show you why. This is just an idea to keep from having to knot it on the back. So what I'm going to do is I pulled a button, and I'm going to go through the button, and I'm going to start in this corner right here, and I'm going to go through all 3 layers, including the cardstock, and I'm going to pull it like so, but I'm leaving a couple of inches-ish, and try not to be too fiddly with it. All right, now I'm going to go back in all 3 layers, and I want to come back up through the button on the opposite side of where I went in. There we go. Okay, then I can pull that tail. All right, so see, now I can tie a little knot here, and it will be part of the front. It'll be just a little added something to the front of the pocket. So I'm going to tie a knot here, and I'm going to cut that just a little. I'm going to let part of it hang. All right, now I'm going to take my needle, and I'm going to go back down into one of those holes that I just came out of, and now I'm going to stitch around the edges. So I could do a straight running stitch, I could do a blanket stitch, you can do anything you want to here. So I'm just going to come up next to this. I think I might just do a straight running stitch a little closer to the edge. So I'm just going to come up and go down, and these are big stitches. This is like slow stitching stitches. You know, you want them big because you really want them to show, and if they're straight, fine. If they're a little wonky, then that just adds to the character of the piece. Sometimes I purposely make them really wonky just for fun. All right, so I'm going to stitch around that. So I decided on about every 3rd stitch, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to add a bead. So 1, 2, 3. This one, whoops, I put the bead on there before I came back up. Now, if you think you want to add beads like I'm doing, make sure the holes are large enough to go through the needle that you choose. This needle's pretty tiny. I had a little trouble getting it threaded, but it went. It wasn't too bad. But I wanted to keep it tiny because I like to add beads onto my work. I add beads onto everything because I love beads. So anywho, make sure that you have a small needle or beads with a big hole. These are like, I think they're called seed beads, but they used to call them rocailles, which is really just a large seed bead. That's all it is. So anyway, I'm going to finish this. I'll be right back. Okay, so that one is done all the way around. So now I want to add something pretty like a key or some pieces or some more buttons or whatever. So let me go gather some things. Okay, and I think I've gathered a few items, but I think while I'm here, I still haven't cut this thread. I think I'm going to travel just a little bit underneath here, and I'm not going to go all the way through. Well, I better, because if I don't, it'll show. All right, I'm just going to travel just a little ways, and hopefully nothing will get caught on that, you know, if I keep it tight enough. All right. So a good place for this, look at the little scissors, the little stork scissors, isn't that so cute? So cute. I am gonna, I'm just gonna stitch. Now you can stitch it down in one spot if you want to and leave it kind of dangling, you know, like that. Or you can go ahead and secure it. I think I'm gonna go ahead and secure it in a couple of spots. So I got that side of the handle. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this side, ouch, poked myself, of the handle. And really, that's all it needs. That's down. It's stitched there. Okay, and then I think, well, let's see, before I add the key, I want to add this little guy. So this little guy is going to go about, so I'm traveling again. And if things get stuck on that, I'll just put another piece of cardstock on the back. I don't think they will. I want to put this little, which is just a little ring. It's just a antique bronze ring. But I just love to add little metal embellishments. So I got it on one side, stitched down, and I'm going to stitch it on the other side and stitch it down. Ain't it cute, cute, cute? Okay, now I've got a few other things over here, but I'm going to set them in my lid so I don't lose them because I'm not ready for them just yet. What I am ready for is, this is part of that vintage wedding gown I was showing you, and I want to use a piece of this. So find my skizzers, and let's see. I think right there would just be the bomb. Isn't that gorgeous? And so for this, I believe I'm going to go ahead and use fabric glue. This bottle, you know, these fabric glues are so funny. You think you get to the end of it and you're like, okay, well, it's about empty, and you turn it upside down, and for a month later, you're still getting glue out of it. Which I'm not complaining, because it's expensive. You want it to last for a long time, but I mean, I would have swore 2 months ago this guy was empty, and it's still giving me glue. So, okay, I'll take it. So I'm just gonna, now I could have taken some white thread maybe and stitched that down, but I'm just gonna glue it for sake of time, put it in there like that. Now I also pulled a couple of little things that I thought were interesting that now I can't get. A couple of beads, but this guy, this is some kind of a spacer, washer, whatever. So, and that's a pearl off of this gown part that came off. Let me see if this needle will go through that washer before I try to sew it on. Yes, it will. Okay, so I'm going to add the little washer guy. Oh, I guess I'm going to travel way on down here. And I'm going to put this little washer in, and I'm going to go back down on one side, come back out. All right, and then I'm going to come up on the other side of that washer. At least that's my story. I was supposed to come up on the other side of it and go back down in the middle. All right, so I ended up with 2 on one side, so that's okay. You know what? I'll put 2 on this side. If it'll let me go through that many times, let's just try it and see. That'll make a cute little decor. All right, let's see if I can get through one more time, right? Yeah, that's fine. We'll go right there. All right, we're going to go in here, pull it. Ain't it cute? Now, I know that I want to add some beads, some seed beads, so I'm going to go ahead and end this guy off. So I'm going to just slide my needle under those, some of the other threads, and I'm going to pull that pretty tight, and then I always just put a dot, just a dot of some kind of glue, anything that'll just kind of, well, come on, I've used this so much lately. So I'm just going to put a dot of glue there just to kind of make sure that knot doesn't go anywhere. Now I need to find a smaller needle. I dearly love working with seed beads, but one thing I don't enjoy is threading this needle. The eye is so tiny that sometimes I can't see it. I literally can't see the eye, and I do a lot of close-up work, but wow, that is a tiny eye. So when I do get it threaded, I give myself a long thread so it'll last a long time. All right, so what I want to do here now, I just put a little tiny knot at the end of this, and I want to add some seed beads. So I think I'm going to start right here And I'm not going through the cardstock. I'm just going up under the fabric pieces. And I have these seed beads, which are a little larger. These are 11-0, 12-0. These are 12-0 seed beads. So they are much easier to work with. I've got some that are so tiny that you almost can't see the hole in them either. I love seed beads. I love to work with them, but oh boy, those needles are something else. So I think in the middle of this little flower thingamajiggy, I don't know what you would call it. It's just a little, it's kind of like embroidered flower or something. I'm just kind of, I may end up having to go through the cardstock if I can't get in there good enough. But I'm just going to go through that. I'm going to add a little seed bead to it. And these gold seed beads just add so much. They really make it look rich and vintage and whatever. Okay, so I'm going to put one in the middle of each. Let's see if I can just do it this way without getting my finger. There we go. Of each one of those little bitty flowers. And of course the threads will get caught on everything. And you just have, that's because my thread's so long, but oh, I don't want to have to thread this needle again for a long time. Hopefully. All right, now I'm going to go over here. I just traveled underneath there to the next guy. And I'm going to add some seed beads there. All right, now I'm going to add these freshwater pearls if my needle will go through them. These are some flat, kind of misshapen, odd-shaped. I don't even see a hole in that one. And I like to use them because they don't take up that much room. But there it is right there. Ooh, that is a tiny hole. Okay. But it'll just add so much to this little project. So I'm going to sew that one down, and then I might travel over to here somewhere, and I'm going to sew a few more down. Okay, the next thing I'm going to add is this iridescent sequin, and I'm sure you know how to put sequins on, but you just add a seed bead, then you go around the seed bead back into the sequin, and that secures the sequin down. I'm trying not to get a knot in this. All right, good. So I came up there. So I'm going to add another sequin. Some people put them upside down. I usually put mine with a cup going up because I think it reflects more light that way, but I could be wrong. That's just the way I do it. Now I'm going around the seed bead and back into the sequin. It's a little hard to see because it is clear iridescent sequin, so it's kind of hard for you to see that probably. I'm going to do one more, and I decided to add the smaller of these bronzy looking beads. The big one I think was just too much. And when you sew on a bead like this or a pearl or whatever, you need to really go through it, come back up and go through it again. That way it doesn't wiggle all over the place. All right, now I want one more thing right in here, and I'll call this one done. Okay, I think I would call that finished. It is done, done, done. There's what the back looks like where we traveled a couple of times. And like I said, I may put another piece of paper over that just to make sure when I slip tags in, they don't get hung on there. But isn't that gorgeous? I hope you can see all the detail. These sequins here didn't show up too good on camera. I put 3 gold sequins with seed beads here. Then I came back to the edge and ended that off, tied that off. So there it is. All right, guys, have fun. And remember, you can do this with anything. It doesn't have to be lace and vintage. You can make it any color, anything you want to. And you can see how different these are. You can just use colors, use any scraps. Great scrap buster, little bits and pieces of whatever you've got. So thanks for watching, guys. Have fun. Have a good day. Bye-bye.